Going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Well, excuse me, Wednesday night. It's 10:37 for me. I just got done playing some Among Us, and I was gonna hop back into Elden Ring, and then I saw a big update coming. I'm like, oh, what's going on? So I actually hopped onto Moist Critical's stream, which pop over there. You can see Moist Critical's playing it. And then I heard his chat talking about this update. I'm like, oh, so that explains what my PS4 is currently updating because I did buy it on PS4. Now, I have almost completed the game on my first run through. I'm at the final boss. Not going to spoil anything. I will say that I have enjoyed the game start to finish. I've had my frustrations with it, but I've had frustrations with every game I've ever played. So, and I knew some changes were going to be made. So I skim read through them. Some I'm like, okay, whatever, don't care. And then others I was like, all right, I want to throw in my 10 cents. So there were quite a few things I did want them to change. I tried the mimic once. Mimic is broke as shit. They need to nerf the fuck out of the mimic. I will grant the people that because I've been on plenty of streams where like Maximilian Dude has said it. Jesus Here's Toast has said it. There's a couple of streamers that have been playing. They're like, yeah, this shit's broke. Like, and you go on YouTube and you see just how much some of the damage these spells and the summons and whatnot can do. And on my first run, I was more or less achievement hunting, so I did use the summons. I did kind of use magic here and there, but not to the extremity to where I was robbing myself of the experience. I used the mimic once and I never touched it again. So I was like, I want to see how broke this thing is. One time is all it took, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna put that thing away and save it for like just a bullshit boss like Melania or something, or Melania or whatever the fuck her name is. Because that boss is broken. That boss, I hope that boss got nerfed because that boss definitely needs a little bit of nerfage. All the other bosses to me are either manageable or anything that is done to nerf that would just feel like a favor to just like me and the people complaining about some of the stuff. But yeah, some of the magic stuff needed to be nerfed. And I'm not gonna lie, I did abuse it myself. I took advantage while I could on some things. Now, the one I didn't take advantage of, and I believe you me, I was super tempted, was with Mog, or I think it's the Bloodlord version of him, because there's two Mogs you can fight, and um, the Bloodlord version, there's actually a glitch where you go in, you fight him, you die, you get teleported outside of the boss arena, and then there's actually a way for you to like bypass the fog wall, and you could just boop the shit out of him and not have to fight him ever. And the exploit that I saw, the person exploiting it that was demonstrating it, had on this beetle or whatever that gives you extra runes, and then they use one of the little chicken feet that also gives you extra runes. So they maximize profit with minimal effort, and I'm like, oh, that's getting fixed. Like, I will be shocked if that's not in the patch notes because yikes, that's an issue. Um, and yeah, Mog took me 4 hours to beat. That dude he's not hard, he's manageable, he's just got a big freaking health pool. Um, and getting past a certain thing that he does, like midway through the fight, that's the real test. But there is an item you can get, and I found out after the fact. But now that I know that it exists, I guess I might as well use it, see just how bad it is. On my second run, I am doing a no summons. So far, I'm doing pretty well. I'm not that far in. I'm like 8 hours in. I've just been running around, kind of setting up my YouTube run. I might even do a stream, depending on the internet connection, but we shall see. Anyway, it's enough dilly daddling. Let's see what we got here. So this is version 1.03. Here's a full list of changes and fixes. I'll leave a link down below just in case my head gets in the way of some of the dialogue, some of the text and whatnot. So a new NPC has also been added, and new sections have been added for certain characters' questlines, such as Kenneth Height, which I believe is a guy you go to like rescue with four Dialos. I call him Edgelord. That's the only reason I remember because his name sounds like something like a demon, and he wears armor that makes him look like some kind of vampire prince. And I'm like, not Bloodborne. Castlevania wants their character back. Fixed a few bugs regarding summoning and dialogue skipping. I never had any issues with dialogue skipping, and I didn't run into any summoning bugs. I have run into input bugs where I'll hit like the heal button and my character will just be like, do, not doing shit. And that really gets frustrating. Damn near cost me a couple of boss fights, especially some close calls. All right, so let's see. So additional elements added. Added a function to record an icon and the name of an NPC on the map when you encounter that NPC. So if that means NPCs are going to show up on the map, that is just fantastic because that definitely needed. That was definitely needed. Added NPC Jar Bairn. I guess I'll run into them at some point. Added new quest phases for the following NPCs: Dielos, Nefeli Lu, Kenneth Height, and Gatekeeper Gostic. So Dielos again is that edgelord. Nelfi is she can help you against Godric. Kenneth Height again, he like you go rescue his fort, he gives you a dagger, and then after that, I think that's pretty much it for him. And then Stock, I believe, is somebody that kind of gives you one of two ways to get at Godric, and then once you beat Godric, he just stomps on his head. I feel like I could spoil that because I'm sure by now everybody's gotten at least past Godric. Added some summonable NPCs in multiple situations. Okay, good, because a friend of mine was running into an issue where he couldn't summon a certain NPC for a certain boss that he fucking hates and that I fucking hate as well. For context, it's a boss that has two summons off the get go. And if you know who that is, okay. If you don't know who it is, then avoid the comment section. But yeah, if you do know who that boss is, don't spoil it for people. Increase the number of patterns of objects player can imitate when using the Mimic's Veil. I don't really use that item. It's the I forget where exactly you get it, but it allows you to imitate like boxes, like the surroundings and whatnot. I used it like once or twice, but I don't know. Added night background music for some open fields. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Bugs. Prevented NPCs from taking damage in some boss battles. Never ran into that one. That sometime prevented the player from obtaining item after boss battle. Never ran into that. Causes dialogue to be skipped when talking to NPCs and using custom key. Didn't run into that. Causes player to freeze when riding. That I've run into. Causes arcane to scale incorrectly for some weapons. I haven't used arcane. The first character was pretty much mostly endurance, vigor, and strength with a little bit of dexterity. And then my current one, and I'm pretty much upgrading everything but arcane. So, yeah, I'm not touching arcane. In a situation where the player cannot obtain more than 2 talisman pouches, edit talisman pouch to Twin Maiden Hut's shop lineup. Okay, cool. Fix a bug for any user from warping to sites of grace from the map at the end of the game. I haven't beaten the game yet. I just know who the final boss is. I have seen how the game ends, or at least one of the endings of the game. I know there's multiple endings. So I do know who the final bosses are. I know all of that, so I'm not really spoiling anything. Fix a bug for another player from moving to the next area after the battle with a fire giant. Now, I'm actually curious, and answer this honestly because I made this mistake. How many of you jumped into that big ass bowl after you beat the fire giant? How many of you jumped in there and died? Because I sure as shit did. Because I was like, I don't know where the fuck to go. And then like on the other fucking side of this big massive bowl is where you got to go. And I'm just like, really? You couldn't put it like right in front of me? Like just they could have moved that, like that would have been nice. Fix a bug which causes some weapons to have incorrect scaling after strengthening. I have seen people mention that when a weapon reaches level 25, it's like not as strong as it was at level 24. I haven't run into that bug, but I hope they definitely fix that. Fix a bug which causes some weapons to not use stat scaling. That I've run into. I have seen that happen. Fix hangups in certain occasions. That's broad. That doesn't tell me anything. Fixed a bug which incorrectly displays multiplayer. I don't care about multiplayer. Fix a bug that allows the player to activate Erdtree's Great Shield weapon skill without absorbing an okay, I don't care about that. Fix a bug which causes Fire's Deadly Sin Incantation to have a different effect. Okay, I don't even know what that is. Fix a bug with the Ash Award Determination and Royal Knight's Resolve. I have seen Determination, haven't seen Royal Knight's Resolve. Where the damage buff will also apply to. Okay, yeah, I figured Determination was a weapons buff. That might have been why I was able to beat the Tree Sentinel as early as I was on my second run. My first run, I got my ass handed to me. My second run, I actually did pretty decent. Deleted the ragged armor set from the game, which was mistakenly obtainable in previous patch. What the hell's I don't know what the ragged armor. I hope my first run isn't like screwed up because of this. Well, then again, I would assume, yeah, because I'm thinking of like Total War or Total Warhammer, Total War Warhammer, whatever the fuck you want to goddamn call it. Like a friend of mine calls it Total Warhammer. I call it Total War Warhammer. I bounce between the two. Anyways, I'm getting off topic here. Whenever they release a update or a patch or whatever, and you have mods, the mods are outdated. Therefore, your old saves won't work. So I'm hoping that this doesn't do that. But then again, they've done that with like other games like Sekiro, for example. They did it with that a couple of times, and all my saves worked fine, or at least the 2 hours I got into that game. Fix a bug that causes incorrect sound effect to play in some situations. I didn't actually run into an issue where it was playing the incorrect sounds. I was running into an issue where it wasn't playing sound at all. It made the fight with, or one of the final boss fights, really, really derpy because I was not hearing them make any sounds. It was weird. There was just silence. Yeah, I could hear my character moving and shifting. The music was playing, but the boss I was fighting was not making a sound, and it was distracting as shit. I was able to win, but at the same time, I was like, gonna need to fix that one. Fix a bug which causes visual animation and hitboxes to not be displayed correctly on some maps. What do you mean hitboxes displayed on maps? Hmm. If somebody could explain that, that would be great. Fix bugs which causes incorrect visual behavior for some enemies. Does that mean like enemies running off cliffs? Because that's I actually don't think they should fix that because that shit's funny as hell. Unless it's a boss. If it's a boss, okay, or a mini boss, then okay, yeah, you want to fix that. But it's like the random enemies that respawn. Like who gives a shit? Fix a bug that causes incorrect stat parameter for some armor. Okay, interesting. I didn't even know armor had stat parameters. Oh, he's just throw on whatever the fuck you want and go to town. Test fixes. Oh, text fixes. Okay, I was like test fixes. What? I didn't run into any misspellings or anything like that. Like translation seemed fine, so other performance improvement and bug fixes. So miscellaneous. All right, balance changes. Now this is the stuff that I'm really interested in. It's the balance changes. Because bug wise, the only thing I was concerned about was the input thing, and then of course the stat stuff. But looks like they fixed, or at least they've addressed both of them in some capacity. Increase the drop rate of smithing stone for some enemies. I hope it's smithing stone 3 because that's the one I had the most trouble getting. All the other ones, like I had more smithing stone 4s and 5s than I did 3s for a good hot minute. And it was actually kind of irritating me. I had to resort to a guide because I'm like, I can't upgrade my weapons. I would like to, but I can't because I need 3s. Increase shield's effectiveness. Good. Shield kind of felt a little bit worthless. Only a little bit, like a smidge worthless. Increase the damage for all offensive crackpot items. Don't really use those, so okay. Increase the damage for the following items: spark, aromatic, and poison spray mist. I hope that doesn't affect enemy or those perfume dudes or whatever. Oh my god, I hate the perfume enemies. And if you don't know what the perfume enemies are, they're the ones that like spray all the dust everywhere and it like blows up. Or I guess there's also the poison mist one, but increase effect duration for the following items: uplifting, aromatic, iron jar, aromatic. Don't use either of those, but okay. Increase HP healing for torrent when using the following item. Okay, so basically the raises that you can feed torrent. I actually didn't use those, and maybe I should have. I think you could hotkey those on your pouch or whatever, because yeah, that would be nice to not have to waste a flask on torrent on some of the fights with like dragons and some of the bigger bosses. Because I use torrent when I can. Reduce FP consumption and increase the damage of the following sorceries: Glintstone, Comet Shard, Comet, and Night Comet. Okay, I don't see Azure's Comet, so that might be a good thing. But I haven't seen Night Comet. I've seen just regular Comet. That one doesn't seem too bad, but that Azure's Comet, like that spell is broken. Holy shit! You get that on the right fucking build. Oh my god, that spell is just evil. Increase the damage of the following sorceries: Gravity Well, Collapsing Star, Crystal Barrage. I'm trying to remember any of those were used by a certain NPC in the second main area after you beat Godric. Because I hate that enemy so goddamn much. Decrease the FP consumption for the following sorcery: Star Shower, Rock Blaster, Gavel of Haima, Founding Rain, anything. Loretta's Great Bow, seriously? That's another one that's kind of broken. That one, I've seen that one do a metric fuckload of damage. Loretta's Mastery, Carrying Great Sword. Okay, good. I don't see Azure's Comet on here. That's good. Oh, hold on, my controller turned off. Oh, the update's done. Sweet. Decrease Asha for her frost stuff's damage. Decrease cast time. Yeah, I heard that mentioned in Moist Critical stream. Like I heard, yeah, and I actually saw it in action. Yeah, on one of the bosses he was fighting. That's unfortunate because I did use that quite a bit, but I understand why nerfing the damage. Now, as for increasing the cast, well, Yeah, I guess I could kind of see the increase of the cast time. I guess I kind of see that. The damage output of that thing though was ridiculous. Like you could really beat the shit out of some bosses with that fucking thing. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted, I guess. Increased Asher bloody slashes, self-inflict damage, while slightly lowering the damage and increasing the cast time. I use that one a lot too. I'm a little miffed by that. I mean, the self-inflict damage wasn't that bad to begin with, so I don't mind a little bit of an increase. I'll have to see how bad it is, or how bad it is, how much of a self-inflict it is. I don't know why they slightly lowered the damage though. It wasn't really that bad. The damage was not bad at all. I mean, on some enemies, yeah, like really moitered them, but for the most part, like it. I mean, I get. I would say like increase the self inflict damage. Sure, that's fine, but don't lower the damage. I mean, if you want to lower the damage on anything, lower the damage on Azur's Comet and as they did with Hoarfrost Stomp. Like I get lowering the damage on those two, but not Bloody Slash. Decrease weapon skill on Sort of Night and Flames damage. Okay, decrease the weapon skill. Sort of. Oh, so the weapon skill and the damage on that? Okay, well, I don't use that weapon because I believe that's an arcane weapon anyway, so it doesn't really affect me. But I guess if I want to play arcane at some point, which I might, I don't know. We'll see. Um, so that's unfortunate. Increased FP consumption and lower duration of Ash of War barricade. I never used that one, so I'm indifferent to that. Change FP consumption, timing Ash of War, pre charged. Again, I don't use that one. I'm not really. I haven't really experimented much with the Ashes of War. Aside from Bloody Slash, Hoarfrost Stomp, there were like two or three others that I used. I don't know, I might play around with them a bit more, see which ones see if I can find some better ones to mess around with instead of just using the same two or three. Decrease the damage of Spirit Summon when using item Mimic Tear Ash and change the spirit's behavior pattern. Okay, yeah, so they recognize that the Mimic is fucking broke as shit. um, so they decrease the damage that it inputs. Okay. So maybe the Mimic will be usable and I won't feel like the game's holding my hand while I'm fighting a boss, like I did the one time. Or like how I've seen on plenty of YouTube videos, because, jeez. Other enemy and weapon balance changes. Okay, well, that's. I wanted more of what changes they made to some of the more tougher enemies, but I guess I will get to experience that when I hop back into the game here after I finish recording this video and schedule it to upload. Actually, I'm not even gonna schedule. I'm just gonna upload it as is. I'll probably rewatch it, make sure the audio came in fine and video quality is good enough, and then I'll put the onion ring thumbnail that I've actually grown quite fond of with some of the snippets that I've posted on YouTube with the Frost Dragon, which I hope they fix that, because I gotta tell you, like, as funny as that shit was, I was disappointed because let's see, that dragon killed me. I don't even think it got, it was like 8 or 9 times. I think it was less than 10. It was definitely less than 10. But I was like, okay, I've got this plan laid out. I know how I'm gonna do it. I get up there and then we fight for a little bit, and then he perches on the tree, and I'm like, all right, guess I'll get the crossbow out, and then he just dies, and I'm like, all right, I guess I win. By technicality. And there was actually another player. I guess they somehow, or the game somehow managed to kill Millennia, who, again, is a boss that I think has an ability that is broken as shit, and that definitely needs nerfing. Like, if any boss needs a nerf in the game, it is her. She needs some kind of nerf because she is absurd. She's ridiculous. I've watched some streamers go up against her, and and these are people that speed run like Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1. Like, they are masters of these games. And they struggle like really hard against her, and not in a good way. Like, there is challenging people that are like accustomed to your games and that are good at them. And then there's Melania, Blade of Micula, or Banicula, or whatever the fuck she says, because I mean, she said it so many freaking times you think I'd have it memorized. Shout out to Jesus. Here's Toast, by the way. I doubt he's going to find this video, but shout out to him because I've been watching his streams and seeing him suffer against that boss. And I'm like, man, when you could convince him, who's like a hardcore, doesn't use magic, doesn't use summons, hates any kind of hand holding, would remove magic if he was given the chance, when even he says it's unfair, that's when you know you've goofed. That's when some changes need to be made. And I definitely think Melania needs some changes. And, it's not to say that, like, design or artistic wise, she's a bad boss. She's not. She's really cool looking. The design of her figure, if you will. Um, Barring what happens in the latter end of that fight, we won't talk about that. But I will say that artistically, they did a fantastic job with her. It's just that one ability is really fucking broken. And no, I am not talking about her rallying um, from like if you think she's like a boss from Bloodborne or Sekiro. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a attack that she does that is just ridiculous, and it's killed me 90% of the time that I fought her. And I'm like, this ability is so goddamn broken, it needs to go away. Like, I will happily accept the Mimic getting nerfed. I will accept Horfrust getting nerfed. I'll even take Bloody Slash getting nerfed, as long as they do the same damn thing to her. And it doesn't even have to be a big nerf. It just has to be, I don't know, put that ability on like second into the fight, or make it to where she doesn't use it until she's at like 10 or not. I wouldn't, no, not 10%, maybe 40% HP. She has 40% HP left, and then she starts using it. You know, she's like, oh shit, a challenge. I better start breaking out my big badass attacks. Like, that's how I would think a demigod, for lack of a better term, because that's actually what she is anyway, would do that. Like, you need to make her take you seriously, so that way she brings out the big guns, and when she brings out the big guns, you're like, oh shit, she's taking me seriously. I might want to get more serious myself. Like, that's how it should be, and that's how it is for like a lot of bosses in Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, and Elden Ring as well. Especially technically third to last boss fight. Like, that might be my favorite. Like, I don't know how they're gonna top that boss fight. Um, and for those of you that like want to know which one I'm talking about, it involves a lion. It involves a lion and some jaw snapping and some wrestling moves. My favorite boss fight. Oh my god, I can't wait to get into that boss fight. Like, I would fucking just, if I could make a separate save and just replay that boss fight over and over again, I might do that. But then I might get bored of it. So I don't know. But yeah, just I got to the point where I was getting frustrated, but then I started to notice that I was learning his moves. I was kind of getting into a rhythm with him. I'm like, I can't do that to this boss. This boss is too damn cool. I like him too much. And like, even when he kicks your ass, he's like, you fought well. And I'm like, I can't cheese you. I gotta fight you man to man, fair and square. And I did, and it took me about an hour and a half. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice. It's a very easy boss to kind of get the rhythm of, for the at least for the first half. The second half, you gotta kind of work out the kinks, or you gotta get there enough times, I should say, and work out the kinks. But once you figure it out, it's really not that bad. But Melania, I keep saying Melania like I'm talking about Donald Trump's wife. No, I mean uh, Melania. We'll just say Blade of Micula. That way I don't have to fucking correct myself. Oh, man. Jesus' chat. Anyways, I'm rambling. And if you've tuned out from this video, I completely understand. But yeah, I'll probably leave some timestamps so that way, like I was saying, yeah, I just kind of ramble and bullshit at this point, and then here's the patch notes. Here's a link to said patch notes. But yeah, well, I'll be it'll be interesting to see how these changes affect things, and I'm interested to see this new NPC. And I cannot wait for some DLC, because I know with how well this game has been selling that Bandai Namco's over there looking at me like, psst, let's make some DLC for this bitch. And, Miyazaki's gonna be like, sure thing. All right. Anyway, folks, have a good one. Hope you're enjoying Elden Ring as much as I am, and I will see you all for whatever video I upload next.